Welcome to day 11 of the World Ice Hockey Championships from Germany. Our live coverage of the quarterfinals continues from Munich with undefeated Canada taking on last year's silver medalist Finland. Hello everyone, I'm Paul Ferguson. Richard Beaupre is here alongside, and we're looking forward to this one. Canada against Finland, and the Canadians, have they blown it in the first round? I doubt it very much. They have the personnel to go the distance, but they've been playing so well, one wonders if they've played too well too soon.
First day of quarterfinal action, certainly didn't see any upsets. The Swedes and the Russians comfortably getting through. The Finns underdogs coming into this game. Everybody expecting fantastic things from Canada. They've provided a lot of excitement so far, and I think Mike Keenan's team is going to continue to do so.
The Canadian-Finn battle will go for 60 minutes. At the end of the game, we'll have a winner, and they will take on the Russians. And the game played tonight is the Czech Republic against the Italians, and that winner will take on the Swedes in a couple of days' time. So the Russians and the Swedes already through. It's up to Canada, Finland, the Czechs and the Italians now to do their thing. As we take a look at Finland, Marcus Ketterer is the one to watch. He's one of the top goalies in the tournament, and he really has been sharp. Jutila, Hämäläinen, Hapakoski on the D. These guys are playing some good hockey out there. One thing they're short of, Richard, and that's goal scorers.
They certainly are. I think this game is going to come down to Canada's offense against Finland's defense. Ketterer is going to have an outstanding performance. It's really a pressure situation for the Finns. As you mentioned, they haven't scored goals. They've given up 7 goals, but they've only scored 7. The Canadians have filled the net with 31 goals, and they've only allowed 4.
Well, the Canadians, if we can take a look at them, we see the scoring punch up front with Eric Lindros leading the way, the youngster from the American University. Paul Correa is there. Brindamore, we've heard of him before. Dave Gagne, Adam Graves, Jeff Sanderson is playing well. Mark Recchi, Shane Corson, they're all experienced NHLers. They only have 1, 2, 3, 4 kids from colleges out there. And except for Korea, they're not getting a lot of ice time. We take a look at Bill Ranford, who played 67 games in the National Hockey League with a 3.84 average, 1 shutout this year. At the other end of the rink, we got Marcus Ketterer. Ketterer is a good goaltender, 25 years old, and he was on the All-Star team in the 92 World Championship games, and he really is an experienced campaigner. Drafted 5th by Buffalo last year, and expect to see him in the National Hockey League. This guy can stop pucks, and he can also set up plays when he's given the opportunity.
Ranford coming into this game as 97.25 saves percentage. He's had 2 shutouts, goals against average of .75. 109 shots have been directed at him. He's only allowed 3 of them to cross the red line. Ketterer has allowed 6 goals. He's had 94 shots at him, 93.62 percentage in the goal, 1.51 goals against, and 2 shutouts for the Finns as well.
Well, all that for you statistics buffs out there, and while we're talking about stats, I gotta say hello to my old friend in England, Gordon Stats Wade, who provides stats for British ice hockey, and he is the #1 man in the country when it comes to that department. The Canadians playing from left to right with big Eric Lindros getting the face-off. That tips all the way down into Finnish territory. Jutila puts it up to Ria Järvi. The Finns are looking for big things from Ria Järvi. He was very prolific in goal scoring before this competition started. He was the #1 man. But it's been Jutila who's been providing the action up front, and he's the defenseman. On that occasion, he gets the backhander through. Ranford gets a first taste of rubber.
Jutila is the leading goal scorer for the Finns, a goal and 2 assists in the 5 games that Finland has played. Ria Järvi is tied with him 1 and 2. They need more out of the forwards.
They certainly have a lot of young aspiring players with Korpisalo, Alatalo, and Salinoja. These guys are going to be stars of the future. Esa Tikkanen, number 28, is one of the few NHLers that have come back. And he's out there right now with Koivu. Koivu drops it all the way back. That trickles out over the blue line. Remember that the winner will go on to fight another day. The loser goes home. Going into the corner is Deneen. Deneen is there with Sanderson. That comes out to Brindamore. Brindamore has it along the boards. Hamalainen. Brindamore gets it back. Sanderson takes the shot. And that took a deflection off a player. Going along on the boards is number 26, Harilla. Harilla lost it out. Two-line pass. And the Canadians with a quick change. The Finns with a quick change.
The Finns are going to try to contain the Canadians. You can see how quickly they move the puck around. Canada, that is. The forwards stop and start. They really get things going. They'll dump it in for a while, force the Finns to go back, apply the pressure on the defense to look for a mistake.
The Canadians relying heavily on the Philadelphia Flyers to provide players. They've actually provided 10 players for the tournament. Lindros, Recchi, Brindamore, Deneen, Galley, and Karkner for Canada. Yushkevich and Butseyev for the Russians, Baranek for the Czechs, and Tommy Soderstrom, the goalie, for Sweden. So the Flyers didn't make the playoffs, but they certainly helped out here in the World Championships. Big hit along the boards, working out front was number 16, Kelly Buchberger. The pass didn't come his way, and the Finns come back on the attack. Breaking into the center, over the blue line, a chance. The wrist shot is there. Paolo got a piece of that. Loose puck in neutral ice territory, quickly back on it. Recchi takes the shot, score! Recchi let it go. Did that take a deflection?
The Canadians have the first strike of the game. Mark Recchi, the Philadelphia Flyer star, who is here with his teammate Eric Lindros. Lindros getting a lot of the attention. Recchi letting this one go. Kenner beaten low on the deflector side. Really didn't make much of it.
(1-0) the score. The Canadians start things off. Lindros tips that through center. Jutila has it on the near side. Jutila, the return pass. And a big worry for the Finns. Can they keep pace with the Canadians when it comes to scoring goals? Unassisted for Recchi.
Recchi with a goal and 3 assists now for Canada. Talking of their top scorers, Lindros with 16 points, Correa with 9, Corson a goal and 7 assists, giving him 8 points. Gardner's got 3 and 3 for 6. Defenseman Manson has started strong with 6 assists.
Benning got it out nicely, picked up by Shane Corson. Corson breaks down the left side. Lindros cruises right in front of the goal. Corson is triple teamed out there, and the Finns bring it out over the blue, but that's as far as they get. Calling for it on this side is Benning. Benning is taken off the play on the red line, and going back quickly for it is Karkner. Karkner bounces that off the far boards, and Jutila goes deep, pushes it in the corner, and the Canadians are getting in quickly to apply pressure. Nieminen spun off the puck. That comes all the way along the blue line. Going in now is Galley. Galley out front. Sanderson is there. And big Eric Lindros is tied up in front. Tikkanen gets away from Corson. Tikkanen now looking for the shot from a sharp angle. That ends up on the near side, and the Canadians one-time it out of the zone. Harilla dropped it back, looks for the return pass, and that goes all the way down the ice.
You can see why Eric Lindros has so many points. The Finns struggling to keep him away from the front of the goal. He got a touch on the puck, and there was a Finnish defenseman practically inside of his jersey.
42-year-old Pentti Matikainen knows that this is one of the most important games of his career. He's been with the national team since '87, but he knows that he could have done better than getting the silver last year. A lot of pundits thought he would go for gold and get the gold. The Swedes beat him in the final, and they're looking for the gold this year. Do they have the personnel? The shot wide of the target, that bounces out as far as the red line, and the Canadians go back on the defensive in the corner. Smith muscles going up against 14, Korpisalo. Still Smith along the boards. Koivu now. Galley takes his man down, throws it up to number 27, Adam Graves. Goes as far as the blue line, and we'll have another face-off as The Canadians protest and say it should be all the way down the rink.
McIver on the defense for Canada, 17 goals and 46 assists this year with Ottawa. The leading goal scorer, a guy that they picked up right at the beginning of the season off the waiver sheet.
It's bad when your top scorer is a defenseman. Big shot coming in from Dineen. Dineen let it fly. That comes out front again. And Laukkanen throws it up on the right side. That's passed through to Sarakoski. Sarakoski breaking with Paolo. A wrist shot trickles in front of Ranford. Paolo picks it up, throws it all the way back to the top of the circle. Another wrist shot coming in wide of the target. Moving in front was Alatalo. He was pushed out of the play, and the Canadians, Brindamore, getting back into the corner. From the side of the net, a little poke through there by Sarakoski, and the Canadians dump it down.
It's exactly what the Finns have to do. They can't be shy. They can't play that defensive shell. They're going to have to force the play. The Canadians can make mistakes like anybody else. They've got to put pressure on them. Sarakoski trying to work the puck out front to Paolo.
How many times in this competition have we seen forwards and defensemen test the goaltender right on the post with the wraparound, with the shots virtually along the red line? You really got to know how to get that skate and stick in there. Working up is Dave Gagner. Gagner taken off the play by Ria Järvi. That comes all the way back to the Canadian D, thrown up for number 8, Recchi. And Recchi couldn't see that one as it went all the way down the ice. Another icing call. One or two fans want them to get on with this game, but the Canadians and the Finns will play it to their pace, that's for sure.
The Canadians have quickly changed their style. They were dumping it in the first couple shifts. Now you can see they're trying to pull the Finnish defense off the blue line. They're looking for the long passes, trying to string a few breakaways together. So far, they've just failed to do so and have been hit with a couple of icing calls.
Jarkko Varvio, number 28 for Finland, has been relatively quiet compared to his performance last year in the World Championships. Boy, he was outstanding. Went on to be drafted number 2 by Minnesota. But in this competition, like all of the other Finns out there, he hasn't done a lot.
Leading goal scorer last year, 8 goals and an assist on the All-Star team after the 92 Worlds.
Galley pumps it all the way around the boards, and Galley will have to go back in the corner. Goes up against Ria Järvi. Ria Järvi flips it over to the far side. In there quickly was Jeff Smith. That comes only back as far as the blue line, and Lindros starts throwing his weight around. Lindros gets in it, whistles out around the boards to the near side, and the Canadians try to get it out, but Jutila has something to say about it. Along the boards, Korea dropped back to Smith. Smith taps it up to Corson. Corson can only get it back to Nieminen. Nieminen puts it right in front. The loose puck is there. Corson is there. The save from Ranford. And Corson comes back with Vidakoski taking a swipe at that and causing a few headaches for the Canadian goalie. Smith got it up. 5 minutes, 13 seconds gone in the first period. Lindros looking for somebody out front. He's got Korea out there, but he decides to go back to the blue. Karkner shot it in, but the Finns bring it right back. The loose puck is cleared out of the zone. Hämäläinen was there, but it was picked up by Korpisalo, and he dumped it all the way back to Ville Siren. Siren being shadowed on the play by Gagner. And the Finns, with the long pass going astray, are called on the icing whistle.
The Finns trying to get the long pass through for a possible breakaway. Koivu and Tikkanen on the ice. They're the 2 danger men for the Finns, as Varvio has been very quiet. Ria Järvi hasn't had a lot to say. The Finns, just plain and simply, need more potent offense. 7 goals just isn't enough in 5 games.
Koivu gets set for the face-off, going up against Gagner. Koivu gets that back nicely. That's tipped over the near side to Tikkanen. Tikkanen, who is receiving bad press reports in New York. Everybody gets bad press reports there. That shot took a deflection. Koivu got the number on it, and Ranford held on. But Tikkanen, when he moved to New York from Edmonton, really wasn't performing offensively or defensively.
Well, the New York Rangers were in a situation where they were trying desperately to make the playoffs. They were second, third, or fourth most of the season, hanging right in there. They were at the top for a while. Started losing it, brought Tikkanen in. They thought he might be a big hit, but the critics didn't agree, and they had the reason to. He was minus 13 as a New York Ranger.
Thrown up onto the left wing by Recchi, dragged in the corner, and the Finns come up with it. Flipped up by Tikkanen into the center. A chance now going in on the backhand side. Korpisalo squeezed out of the play in the corner. Dave Manson stayed with him all the way. Buchberger. Recchi taken out of the play by Harila. Koivu breaks to the far side, and the Finns now with Tikkanen still out there. He's been on a long shift. Fakes the shot. At the second attempt, he couldn't get by McIver. McIver stayed with him, played the body. Grindamore now brings it back for Canada. Long pass intended for Mike Gartner. And that went astray. That bounced off his skates, and the Canadians coming back with Galley in his own zone. The pass fed through the neutral ice zone. Gartner couldn't hang on to it. A chance now for Johnson. Johnson, one of the few college kids for Canada, unable to make it work, and the Finns now back on the offensive. Ranford just helps that along its way, trying to get it through Peltema. Galley in the corner. Varvio sidesteps him, and that comes out front, and the Canadians are back on attack. Big shot coming from Adam Graves. That ricochets all the way out to a few feet from the blue line. Jutila has got the good move. Jutila working with Varvio. Jutila took the shot. Galley got in front of it. Bounces in the corner. Sarakoski is there. Grindamore takes him out of the play. Galley tips it up to Dineen. Dineen, who plays hockey in Philadelphia. His father, Bill, is the coach. Drops it back. Grindamore feeds it over. A one-timer coming in from Jeff Sanderson. Dineen followed through, and the Canadians bringing the passes together, making it work out there. Sanderson up against Laukkanen. All the way back to the blue. Kept in nicely by Karkner. At the second attempt, the Canadians take it even further, looking for Sanderson. Oh, a big chop from Sanderson. Alatalo loses out at the blue line, but the Finns manage to dump it in. Karkner goes back. Number 19 is Benning for Canada. Long pass up in the neutral ice territory. The Canadians are finding space out there.
They are moving well, and the Finnish defense are starting to back in on Ketterer. Moments ago, he had to come up with a good save on Sanderson. The Finns are going to have to try and take the Canadians at the blue line.
Alatalo was looking for that loose puck. Paulo brought it over the blue line, and a chance now for Canada. Correa, a lovely backhander. Lindros. Oh, that was pretty.
Correa, the college player of the year, has got eyes in the back of his head. They're calling him the kid, while Eric Lindros is only a matter of months older than him. The two of these guys have really struck up a superb partnership.
Coach Mike Keenan has compared them to Gretzky and Messier way back when they were playing for Edmonton. But Correa certainly is a high flyer.
5'10", 160 pounds. Not very heavy, but hit him if you can. He's like an eel on the ice and an excellent playmaker. Lindros going close on this one. Correa always looking up. Harila slams the brakes on. He isn't going to have anything to say about it. The pass is laid over ever so nicely for Eric Lindros. He runs out of room. He's at a sharp angle. The shot goes wide. But this kid, Correa, has really got a future ahead of him. Hobie Baker Award winner, the first freshman to ever collect that very coveted award as the College Player of the Year in America.
He also picked up a gold medal for being on the Canadian World Junior Championship team this year. And
he also helped lead the University of Maine to the NCAA Championship.
He said he's a winner, and he expects to win here. Vidakovsky down on the right wing, squeezed out. Ria Yarvi goes in there to help out. McIver has something to say about it. The Canadians looking very calm and collected, looking in control. Ketterer forces that one, throws it over to the near side after the officials refuse to blow the whistle. Jutila drags his man down. That was number 16, Buchberger. Buchberger looking tired, goes to the far side. Koivu right in front. Ranford goes down. Korpisalo was there. And another rink-long clearance by the Canadians results in an icing call. A good look here at Mike Keenan, who has just been signed up by the New York Rangers. Keenan was out of work since November, and he said during that time until he joined the Canadian national team, he was taking care of his health. But boy, he doesn't look too healthy out there.
Taking care of his health, I would have to wonder if maybe he got on the subway in New York to go and sign his contract for the coaching job. He's coming in here looking a bit rough with his neck bandaged up.
Keenan now one of the most highly paid coaches in the world, collecting close to $1 million a year for the Rangers. His assistant manager is Roger Nielsen, and he was fired by the Rangers a few months ago, so there's a big Ranger connection there. One 0 to score. The Canadians leading this one in the first period. Midway points, and the Canadians looking as strong as everyone indicated they were when they first played in this tournament in Munich back at the start of last week. Koivu loses out. Grindamore picks it up. Graves rather picks it up. A big shot. Graves letting the big shot go from about 35 feet out. Tikkanen fed that through the center to Korpisalo. Korpisalo slams on the brakes. Parkner picks up the puck and throws it over the near side to Benning. Benning slows it down at the blue, chops it up to Grindamore. Grindamore this time throws it in. Ketter looking for Peltoma. He finds him, and Peltoma throws it out of the zone. Tirin got that away from Deneen, and that was pushed away from Sanderson. The Canadians going back on the D with Smith, backhanding it over to the near side. The pace has slowed down a little here in the first period, and the Canadians with Galley now finding himself way forward. Galley taken out of the play. Juha Ilonen is out there. He hasn't seen a lot of action in this tournament. Galley gets back on his defensive position. Long shot that Ranford steers into the corner. No problem for him. Deneen gets away from Peltoma. Deneen, the return pass. He's got Grindamore on the left side. Deneen slows it down, looks for somewhere to go, throws it in front of the line. Big shot comes in. That whistles by the far post, bounces out on the near side, and the Finns pick it up. Going back on the attack, the Finns now hitting that line, but not hitting it, Richard, with any confidence. They don't seem to have the flow. They're stacking the blue line, slowing down. There's no timing there.
They seem very tentative coming over the blue line. When they do come up on the Canadian defense, they're doing the right thing in their own end by starting to step up to the Canadians. But as they step up and the trailers are coming in, the Canadians are swinging to the boards, laying the puck across. The forwards are going to have to come back and pick up the trailers.
Lindros got over the line, but Correa was a stride ahead of him. Correa trying to get back to straddle the blue, but just couldn't make it. A good look at 6'5", 225 Eric Lindros, a multi-million-dollar 20-year-old who now plays for Philadelphia, refused to go to Quebec. Quebec still in the playoffs. Philadelphia ended up in last place in their division, well and truly out of the playoffs. 12:40 gone in the first period. The Canadians leading at 1-0 on a goal from Recchi. Back on the attack now. Canada hitting the blue, looking for somewhere to go is number 15, Gagner. Gagner puts it through the circle. And again, we see some good stuff from the Finnish defense. Vidakoski getting back in numbers to tie up Recchi on the boards. Recchi moves in front. Nieminen tries to move it. Jutila is there. Loose puck right in front. Ria Järvi settles it down and throws it to the far side. Vidakoski. One too many red shirts in his way. And again, the Canadians flip it down the ice.
It's warm on the ice. Once again, we start seeing the puck taking crazy bounces. Close call for Ketterer as the puck bounced right out in front. A Canadian was unmarked there. But it's been difficult for the players to find the handle quite a few times as the puck is really going mad.
A real party atmosphere here in Munich. Yesterday when the Germans took on the Russians, this place was jam-packed. You couldn't even get standing room. The Russians skated to a 5-1 victory. That was fairly simple for them. They'll be in the next round, as will be the Swedes. Partner put it into the near corner. Tikkanen doing a great job of forechecking. Tikkanen manhandles his opposite number. Tikkanen goes after that. Seaton put it in. Lindros goes up against Laukkanen. A loose puck at the side of the goal, but look at the number of Canadians who get back there. Tikkanen tries to throw it out front. Tipped in there for Kartner. Kartner clears it down the ice.
Lindros muscling along the boards earlier. An interesting comment that came from Mark Recchi. He was the star involved in a trade that sent him from Pittsburgh over to the Flyers. He was interviewed, and the comment the journalist made was that Lindros didn't seem to body check or use his weight as much as he should. And Recchi's answer was plain and simple. We play 80-some games in a year, and if a guy that size, even at 20 years old, was hitting the way people think he should be, he wouldn't take the pace. Eric Lindros has got to score goals as well as hit. He's not just out there to enforce.
When Mike Keenan was let go from Chicago, he took about 6 or 7 months off, and he said that he was almost at the point of being burnt out, and he's a coach, only 43 years old. Can you imagine how these players feel? They got to be on the ice for 84 NHL games. That doesn't include playoffs, friendly games, international matches like you're seeing now. You can't hit everybody out there on every occasion. You can't go 110% like the fans and the coaches and the press hope you will do. It's difficult. It's a long, long season, and sometimes it appears to get longer every year. Jeff Smith shot it out of the zone. That bobbles down for Harilla. Harilla taps it in. Gartner decides to leave it for the defense. Gartner breaks in now. Hamalainen goes back. Shot all the way around the boards. The pace really has slowed down here in the first period. Brindamore goes in after Hamalainen. Gartner tries to keep it in, and he fails. Back at the red line, the Canadians getting it as far as the blue line. A chance now as Sarakovsky breaks into the corner. Pushed away by McIver. Less than 5 minutes on the period. Canada breaking up center. Deneen drops back. Brindamore is there. He's stopped in his tracks. Jutila comes forward. Jutila is the one they're looking for inspiration. Jutila took that off a skate. McIver was right in there to provide the woodwork and the check. Good break for Canada. Going up right in front of the goal. The Canadians unable to get things going with Sanderson in front of the goal. That didn't work, and it goes all the way back into Canada territory.
Good try by Sanderson. He's been very impressive so far. He's the only NHL player who comes from the Northwest Territories. Had a great season with Hartford, scoring 21 power play goals.
Living in the Northwest Territories, you wouldn't find any difficulty at all getting ice time 12 months of the year. The middle of July, you just step outside your door and you're on a glacier. Or is it glacier? I can't remember where I am.
Well, plus, moving to Hartford, he didn't have to chop wood to have heat in his house either.
Tapped in by the Finns, and the Canadians now bringing it out of the zone. Long pass right up to the red line. Going in on the right wing. Recchi squeezed out. Harilla gets in and puts the elbow up. Recchi looks at that as it goes in the corner. Scoots all the way around. Recchi gets over there. Recchi and Corson doing a lot of work for Canada. Nieminen, Laukkanen providing the muscle for the Finns.
Lindros belted from behind by Laukkanen. Canada will have the power play. Laukkanen will go to the box.
Laukkanen sits as the Canadians look to extend their lead. It's 1-0 here in the first period. Let's take a look at that penalty. Boy, that can be dangerous.
That is the one rule, well, one of many, that the referees all over the world are clamping down on in a big way, and it's much appreciated by anybody who plays the game. It's no fun to get hit from behind and chew the boards.
Lindros got it back. Koivu, great job of coming forward to tip that out over the blue. Manson on the near side being chased by Tikkanen. Tikkanen, whenever there's a power play situation and there's a penalty to kill off, he's the man. Lindros tapped it up on the wing, but the Finns will get hold of that and shoot it out of the zone. Long pass over by Benning. Canada going for a change as number 24, Manson, tried to bring it in. Koivu, a nifty little stick handler, difficult to dispossess as Manson gets it over the far side away from Tikkanen. 1 minute 17 seconds on the penalty to Laukkanen, and the Canadians unable to set it up in the zone. Canada now setting it up. They must have heard my commentary. Manson gives it right away. Ria Järvi has it. He'll play with it for a while with 1 minute remaining on the penalty. Ria Järvi goes through. Ranford puts it around the boards. Boy, that was a slow motion play if I've ever seen one. The Finns doing a great job of killing off this penalty. Now the Canadians come back. 44 seconds on the penalty. Sanderson motors into the corner, gets it over to Gartner. Gartner feeds it back. That comes to McIver. McIver to Sanderson. Sanderson works in, got a sharp angle, decides to double back and go back to the blue line to McIver. Back to Sanderson. Sanderson flips it over to the far side. Galley moved in from the point position, couldn't get the shot away. Puts it all the way back. Another shot comes in. Whoa! Ketterer, who hasn't been tested in a long time, was there with the glove.
Ketterer looked sharp on that blast. Two Canadians in front of the goal. Adam Graves and Jeff Sanderson. Not easy for Graves to get a tip on that shot. It's too high, and Ketterer plays it easily with the glove. It was moving, though.
Brindamore steps into the circle. And the Canadians, it took a while, but they've eventually strung together a good power play. Shot coming in from Galley. And again, Ketterer gets in there. Alatalo throws it right out to number 16, Kelly Buchberger, who gets it up. Brindamore right in front. Buchberger was there. Brindamore provided the puck, and Laukkanen steps on the ice and immediately gets a touch and gives that up to Sarakoski. Sarakoski gives it to Laukkanen, who takes a shot, and that's a routine save for Ranford.
It's been a while since Ranford had to handle the puck. The other end, the Finns starting to watch the play a little bit. Papakoski almost caught out as the Canadians were sneaking around behind him. Ketterer has been sharp, only allowing one goal up to this point.
Face-off in Canadian territory with Korpisalo getting set. So many impressive young Finns out there, but can they put the puck in the net? Can they put the puck in the ocean? That's the big question. These guys are having difficulty finding that net. They need a leader. We talked about the Swedes last year needing a leader. Matt Sundin eventually came to their rescue. Koivu could be the man. Gives it up. Big shot coming in from Korpisalo, but again, it's an easy one for the goaltender to handle. That's right in the breadbasket.
Speaking of leaders, Koivu has played outstandingly for the Finnish team. He's an 18-year-old kid, and when he takes his helmet off, he looks like he's about 12. We don't know if the program is lying or not. This kid has been all over the ice. The NHL scouts are high on him. It's easy to see why. He plays well with Tikkanen, and he's really taking control for Finland.
As I was saying, last year the Swedes struggled through the preliminary round, eventually began to gel, and looked to Matt Sundin to lead them through the final stages. Who will the Finns look to as Dave Gagne sits it out for Canada in the dying seconds of this period? Graves sent out of the circle. Galley gets it off the boards. takes a slap shot and puts it down the rink. This penalty will go into the second period, unless, of course, the Finns come up with a goal. 30 seconds on the period. The Finns now stringing the passes together with Harila. Harila going against Galley. Galley takes him out. Shane Corson is there to get a touch on the puck, only as far as the far side. Working along there is Jeff Smith. Smith goes in against his man. Waiting for it to come out is Adam Graves, but Galley will get there first. Another big swipe sends it high. And 8 seconds on the period.
The power play has been a bad subject for Finland. They're rated 11th out of 12 teams in this competition. They've only scored 2 power play goals. The Canadians are rated number 1 on the shorthanded side of statistics and number 1 on the power play. That's why they are undefeated at the moment. They've had the number 1 ratings just about across the board.
So the Finns will be looking to score a goal on this power play, but they'll be fully aware that the Canadians can pop one despite having a man down. The wrist shot coming in took a deflection, just a couple of seconds on the clock. Galley takes his time. There goes the buzzer to end the first 20 minutes of play. The Canadians coming up with the only goal from Mark Recchi. Recchi's goal was unassisted at 1:27 of the first period. A hint of a deflection, but either way you look at it, the Philadelphia Flyer, number 1 goal scorer, gets a goal for Canada. The team's now taking a break between the first and second periods, but stay with us. This is live on Eurosport, and we have 2 more periods to come. Neither goaltender, Richard, really being tested that much in the first period. Ketterer has been sharp when he's had to be, and so has Ranford, but most of the shots going at Ranford have been right into his midriff.
They were pretty routine going at Bill Ranford. Ketterer has had most of the heat. He's had to come up big as the Canadians have been very tough moving the puck to the outside. And a couple of times with the wraparound attempts, Ketterer had to stand up for himself. The defense were getting caught watching the play.
Back, Paul Ferguson here with Richard Beaupre live from Munich. The Canadians, after 20 minutes of play, are leading the Finns 1-0, and the Canadians coming out now onto the ice. And no surprises so far. We see the game as anticipated. The Canadians coming forward. They certainly have the firepower in Graves, Lindros, Correa, Gartner, Brindamore, Gagne. All these guys are good goal scorers, and they're coming forward. They're not sitting back playing defensive hockey. It's not a defensive team out there. They've got guys on the defense who are not big hitters, but they can move the puck forward, and that's what they wanted when they set this team up. The Finns are doing what they do best. They're playing some cagey hockey in their own zone, looking for the breaks, but they will not be playing offensive hockey against the Canadians. I don't think they can afford to.
The first 20 minutes were much as everyone expected. Canada's offense, Finland's defense. Ketterer's been sharp enough to only allow 1 goal. Ranford has only had 6 shots at him. He hasn't had to have anything spectacular. It was mostly right at him, the shots coming to his chest, just handling the rebounds. The Canadians only had 7 shots on the Finn goal. They had most of the play in the Finnish end, but a lot of the shots were going wide.
Russian referee Valery Bokatov gets things underway with the Canadians playing from right to left. Power play situation out there. The Finns got the man advantage with Gagne in the box. Nieminen on the far side, and that's whistled down. Face-off will be in neutralized territory just outside the Canadian zone.
It's interesting to see the different strategies by coaches. The U.S. who have been knocked out, having so many college kids in the lineup. That's the team they hope to present at the Lillehammer Olympics in '94. Whereas with the Canadians, you never know. Most of these guys are NHL stars. Canada have walked through the preliminary round 5 games straight. But what will they have for the Olympics? Young Correa, who's playing so well now, needs a lot more help with guys like himself to possibly go to the Olympic Games.
The Canadians are living for today. Ria Järvi Up in the corner, Ria Järvi takes a stick there from Smith. That's taken off the stick and thrown down the ice. Ria Järvi, one of the better playmakers and goal scorers on the Finnish team. As we take a look at Gagne in the penalty box, the net was knocked off its mooring. Ranford getting a little company in there. Galley was out front, and the goaltender takes it walking, takes it for a walk. Brindamore in the face-off. Koivu gets it back. Koivu continues to impress. 20 seconds on the penalty to Gagne. Hämäläinen took that away. Brindamore squeezed out of the play. And the Finns now with 12 seconds on the penalty. Korpisalo. Korpisalo has Tikkanen, gives it to Tikkanen. Tikkanen takes the shot. The save there is from Ranford, and the rebound comes all the way out to the far boards. Now back behind the net. The Canadians back at full strength. Manson lost it for a moment. And Ranford smothers that beside the net.
Ranford having 3 shots already in the period. That's half of the total the Finns managed to put at him in the first period. Quite possibly Matti Kainen has said, wherever you are, let's just try and get the shots at Ranford. Let's make him handle the puck.
Both goaltenders for Canada come from the Edmonton Oilers. The backup today is Ron Tugnuck. 4.17 goals against average for him. The Oilers not having a good season. Korea to Corson, to Lindros. Lindros breaks through. Lindros backhands it, is dumped in the corner. Corson goes in to help out, and the Finns come out with a puck. Long pass up to the red line. Working up is Korpisalo. Korpisalo right in front. Loose puck is there. Tikkanen's there. He bangs at it at the side of the net. And how many opportunities does Tikkanen need to put that puck over the red line? Just couldn't do it.
Tikkanen, Korpisalo, and Koivu have been the best line for the Finns so far. Excellent individual effort by Korpisalo. He was fed a lovely pass, but really put the cut in on Dave Manson. Found himself running out of room. Ranford did what he had to do. He held tight to the post. The puck is laying wide open for Tikkanen. Wasn't quite as easy as everyone thought, though. Tikkanen had a little bit of company from Norm McIver, who was hooking him up and trying to get him away from the goal.
Just couldn't get the stick on that puck. That's pushed back by Adam Graves. Graves goes along the boards and puts a big bear hug on Sarakoski. Paulo comes in to help out. Galley is there, and still it's Graves muscling along Sarakoski. That's the name of the game in the National Hockey League. If you're against the boards, you stay there until the puck goes in a different direction. 1 or 2 Canadian supporters having a good time in Germany. Another look at Coach Mike Keenan with that neck breaks. He looks to be in pain. Paulo going up against Smith. That bounces off the boards. The Canadians unable to get to it. The Finns shoot it right back in the zone. Smith goes back for Canada. Some hard checking there from Sarakoski and co. Alatalo behind the net. He's got Paulo on this side. Back to Laukkanen. Laukkanen takes the shot. Blocked at the defense. The loose puck is there at the side. Alatalo and Laukkanen, or Sarakoski rather, unable to put it in. Another shot comes in. Blocked by Galley and friends. Nieminen let it go, and the Canadians now counter with 3 attackers coming down right in front of the goal. Recchi spun out of the play. Paulo picks up the loose puck. 2:47 gone in the period. Paulo feeds it over to the far side. Paulo breaks for the goal. Sarakoski took the shot, and that trickled in behind the goal. Oh, both teams starting to pick it up here in the second period. 3 minutes gone now. Wide shot bounces all the way out into neutralized territory.
We've seen the Finns in 5 games before this one, and this is the hungriest I've seen this team look yet. Peltomo with another close call.
Ranford coming up big. Long pass out. Number 20, Korea gets it. Korea tries to feed it out front, but Immonen got in front of that. The loose puck. Korea gets it again. Tips it behind the goal to Lindros. Back to Korea. Right into the crease. Corson is there, but so is Ketterer.
Good stuff from both teams. Korea, Lindros, and Corson for Canada. But the Finns are really hungry. They're all over the ice, applying a lot of pressure on Bill Ranford. Corson unable to get a touch as he's taken out of the play by Immonen.
Immonen hasn't seen a lot of action. He was one of the players that they were keeping off the lineup, waiting for such stars as Timo Solane, Jyrki Luma, and Numminen in the NHL, but they continue to play in the playoffs, so they've gone with Immonen now, and Ilonen and Peltoma, who they picked up a few days ago. Their lineup is complete. The Finns are going to try with what they have. They couldn't afford to go with just 20 players rather than 23 against the Canadians. Corson looking for Korea. Lindros is moving out front. Ria Järvi now on the far side. Ria Järvi starts it up, gives it to Vidakoski. Vidakoski to Hämäläinen. Hämäläinen through a crowd got the shot, but it took a deflection off a skate all the way out to Harila. Long shot gloved down by Ranford. The Canadians started up. Big pass right up to the middle. Recchi with Harila. Recchi on the backhander right in front, trying to go for Corson, who can't get off the ice. Bad pass there, sets up Recchi, who puts the shot in. Lindros moves in against the boards. Lindros chases his man, and the Canadians unable to complete the change. Now they can.
Both teams looking for the long passes. The Finns being more offensive, as I said, than we have seen in the tournament so far. A couple of times were caught with 3 guys in deep, but did a great job back-checking. They got back into the play fast enough to stop the Canadians.
1-0 the score as Brindamore goes after that. The Canadians hanging on to that lead. Still a wide-open contest. Laukkanen fakes the first shot. Scores! Whoa, what did I say about this one being wide open?
You shoot the puck, you can score a goal. Laukkanen got all of that one. Coming down from his defensive spot, stepped up on 2 Canadian defensemen, using one of them as a screen, drilled it high and past the Canadian goaltender Ranford. Laukkanen moving the puck across. 24, Dave Manson with a stick out. Manson moves out of the way so that Ranford isn't screened. The Laukkanen shot just plain and simply catches Ranford sleeping. He's beaten over the deflector side for goal number 1 for the Finns.
Once again, the Finns rely on a defenseman to do the job out there, but they don't care as long as the job gets done. Jutila tips it high. That comes down on the blue line. The Canadians have to be quick to bat it out. Gartner taps it off the boards. Jutila gets back in his own zone, and the Canadians go back on the D. Sanderson can't reach for that. Korpisalo, or Alatalo rather, got it up on the wing. Sarakoski goes after it as the Canadians shoot it back in. That whistles all the way around to the near side. Sanderson gets a shot, and that trickles right across the goal mouth with Gartner right in front. Palo was back in the corner, feeds it up on the left wing. And we see Alatalo coming down. He's dumped. Ria Järvi gets back in a position. The Canadians, Manson feeds it forward. Sanderson, he tees it up, takes the shot. Deflected away, and the Canadians now apply a little pressure. Graves goes in, waits for it. Recchi is there. Recchi right across in front. Barbio back down the left side. Palo is with him. Barbio shoots. Deflection all the way out, and there's a whistle on the play. It's difficult for the players to hear the whistles. Bokorev goes over to the timekeeper's bench to explain what had happened. We have 2 Swedish linesmen, Johan Norman and Stefan Eriksson. The officiating has been really sharp in this competition. Penalty coming up. Too many players on the ice is the call, going against the Finns. Vidakoski will sit for 2. And I'm talking about, or I was talking about, the officials being sharp on that play. The linesman called that one. The indication to the Russian referee was that, hey, too many players out there. Let's give them a penalty.
It's plain and simply a communication breakdown when that happens. Coaches hate that call. I'm glad that wasn't against the Canadians. Keenan would have blown his neck brace off.
Thrown over by McIver. Corson looking for Lindros. Lindros is there. He taps it over to Recchi. That comes all the way back to McIver. The big shot in the score! Power play goal. It didn't take long for the Canadians to come back into this one. Boy, they're going to be talking about that mistake as Manson teed it up back at the blue line. The mistake from the Finnish bench in throwing on an attacker when they didn't have a guy coming off the ice.
Ketterer didn't even have a look at the puck. The play came from behind the goal, back to the point, quickly moved over to Dave Manson, who already has 6 assists in these games. He drives it for his first goal.
From the face-off, the Canadians throw it up on the wing. Graves gets a piece of it, goes up against Laukkanen. Laukkanen takes him out of the play and holds him against the boards, and the break now is on. Ilonen drops it back to Varvio. Varvio, big shot in there. Ilonen went in for the rebound. Ranford getting it out, and the Canadians take it up as far as the blue line. Gray is squeezed out. The Finns now back on the attack. Laukkanen picks it up on the wrong side of the red line. 2-line passes the call. 2-1 to score. Canada leading here in the second period.
Laukkanen taking a hit after he got rid of the puck. The guy who's used to providing most of the hits. Our top 5 hits that you've seen on Eurosport being put together by the crew shows Laukkanen belting a Czech player. He was the receiver of a good hit after he'd gotten rid of the puck on that play.
Parkner hits the red and throws it over. Ketterer can't slow that down as it bounced out front. Some wicked bounces coming off these boards in the plexi. Vidakoski got the wrist shot away, but Ranford saw that the moment it left the stick.
Shot going high, the idea being right. The Finns still playing offensive hockey. Looking for the long pass. Vidakoski's on the move, making the Canadian defense go back.
Canadians with Sanderson on the wing calling for it. Sanderson breaks into center now as that's thrown up. Gartner chops it to the far side. Canada hit the red and throw it in, dumping and running out there. Sanderson trying to get it over to Graves, and Graves was taken out of the play. Ria Järvi throws it only as far as their blue line. Not a great clearance by number 24, but he gets away with it as that bobbles all the way down. Parkner feeds it right through. Sanderson got a touch but couldn't contain it. Ria Järvi saw that one go past the stick. Parkner again will have a go at it. Feeds it up. 1 or 2 missed passes out there for both teams. And Graves mixing it up for a moment along the boards, but nothing too serious for either team.
Both teams are coming out of their own zones nicely, but play starting to get closer in the neutral zone. Teams are starting to set picks up. Both sides are trying to let people skate with the puck rather than try to pass through the neutral area.
.41 goals and 34 assists for Lindros. Not bad considering he missed 23 games in the regular season. 61 out of 84 because of a knee injury. And he really is one of the top candidates for the Rookie of the Year award, but You got to look closely at guys like Joe Juneau for Boston, and of course Timo Selänne for Winnipeg. Selänne finished with 76 goals. You don't get much better than that. The Finn that they would like to have over here right now is still playing in the NHL playoffs, and he's turning that league on its head. Lindros goes into the face-off circle, Corson on the left wing. That bobbles in front. Korea is there. There's going to be a penalty on the plate. Interference. That took a long time to whistle down.
Interference happening as the Canadians went back into their own zone. Koivu slowly coming in to apply pressure. He doesn't get anywhere near the play. Little chop from McIver sends him to the box. He's the man guilty of interference. Tikkanen was getting the delayed call for Finland. He's the one who created the initial call by slashing.
So McIver and Tikkanen sit. The Canadians could have had a power play, and then they blew it. Face-off in the Canadian zone, and the Swedish officials want the Canadians to back off the hash marks. Canada in the corner now with Smith. Smith taking his time, setting it up, 4-on-4 situation out there. Graves breaks to one side. Gardner breaks to the other, and Smith gets it down on the left wing. Canada with Smith Hämäläinen going up against him. Getting back is Gardner trying to take his man out of the play. Koivu is dumped. Gardner, 33 years young, gets into the play, and Harila picks it up in neutral ice territory.
Delayed call again. Referee's arm in the air. The Canadians are going to be sending another man to the box. Ketterer has gone to the Finnish bench.
Korpisalo breaks in front. The shot comes in. Korpisalo behind the goal. Eventually it's touched by Canada as Koivu was waiting in the near corner. And we have another penalty on the play. Hooking is the call. And the Russian referee starts to play an active part as Gartner steps in the box.
Gartner leading the Canadians in penalty minutes with 10. Will now take that to 12 minutes. Canadians haven't had very many penalty problems in the tournament. Gartner hasn't had very many shifts in this game. He is apparently nursing sore ribs and abdominal muscles as he took a shot against the Russians.
Face-off once again in Canadian territory. Brindamore comes in to give the signal to Smith and Galley. 9:03 gone in the second period. Canadians leading this 2-1. All the way back to the blue. The Finns now have a golden opportunity to set things up. Jutila fakes the shot. Big shot coming from the far side. That ricochets off the plexi, bounces along the boards, and Canada clear it out. Hämäläinen goes, or Hapakoski rather, goes back for Finland. Hapakoski through his own circle, hits the blue, taps it up to Jutila. Jutila to Hapakoski. Hapakoski has an opportunity, decides to give it to Ria Järvi. 44 seconds on the coincidental penalties. Jutila takes the shot again. Jutila takes his time. The Finns wasting a lot of time out there. Another shot comes in, goes nowhere. Nieminen tries to clear it out to Jutila, and the Canadians pick it up. Nieminen gets it right back, gives it to Jutila. Jutila, not even looking at the goal, wants to go to the far side of the rink. He does. Ria Järvi taps it through, and there's going to be another penalty. Boy, is it getting chippy out there. The Finns, with Nieminen called for hooking.
Russian referee clamping down on everything. Sends Nieminen into the box for a hook. The Finns trying to set it up in the Canadian zone. Looking for the offside shot. The player, Ria Järvi, at such a bad angle, he wouldn't have had anywhere to put the puck. I don't know why Jutila kept looking for him. But as the puck went into the far corner off Ria Järvi's shot, Nieminen put the hook in there and pulled Jeff Smith down. The referee, about 4 feet away from the play, had no trouble making the call.
Not an impressive power play for my money. Utsula in the high slot with a golden opportunity to shoot on several occasions. Decided to make the impossible pass, or wind up for the impossible shot, with Ria Järvi staggering on the far corner. Now the face-off comes out of the Canadian zone. Sarakoski can't hang on to it. 13 seconds on the coincidental penalties, and the Canadians will have a power play when it's all free for about a minute. Canada going forward with Brookberger. Now it's the chance for Finland. Hämäläinen is taken off the puck. Loose puck in neutralized territory. Tiikkanen is there. He picks it up, gives it to Sarakoski, and that's thrown over to Hämäläinen. Hämäläinen backhands it over to the far side of the rink, and the Canadians, Galley to the far side. Canada in 22 seconds will have the power play. Harila throws it up. 17 seconds on the Canadian penalty. 1:12 now on the Finnish penalty. Tiikkanen goes after his man as that's dumped into the near side. 7 seconds. The Canadians are waiting for that man advantage. They lose control of the puck. And now they're back at full strength. Mike Gartner steps on the ice. They're back at full strength. And a golden opportunity now to increase their lead. They lead it 2-1 on goals from Rekki and Manson. Laukkanen getting the only goal for Finland.
Manson's goal was a power play effort. 53 seconds remaining for the Canadians to try and put another man advantage attack together and pull something past Ketterer. Nieminen sitting for hooking.
Good shot there at the mascot, affectionately known as Bully, which I've been told means face-off in German. Sarakoski for the Finns will try to do a number out there to kill off this penalty. Deep forward is McIver. McIver starts things up on the right side of the goal, brings it right back in, throws it up on the left wing. Correa goes in against Laukkanen. Laukkanen gets a stick to it, gets it back as far as Manson. Manson puts it in. Correa's behind the goal. Correa looking for Lindros, finds him. Back to McIver. McIver to Lindros. Lindros having problems with the puck in his skates. Back to McIver. McIver will pull it away from the boards. Big shot from Manson. They tried to do the same thing they did a moment ago, which got them a goal. It didn't work on this occasion. Ketterer was there.
Manson doesn't waste any time getting them off.
Nothing that pretty about the Canadian power play. 1 or 2 passes and then a big shot.
Oftentimes you're better off just to keep it simple. Shot being drilled at Ketterer by McIver. Lindros working along the boards.
Face-off in Finnish territory. Lindros gets set for this. He stays out there. Gartner out on the left wing. McIver back on the D. Correa on the right. The Finns intercept that just inside the blue line, bring it out over the Canadian blue. Tiikkanen gives it to Koivu. That goes upstairs. Ranford gloves it down and throws it behind the goal. The Finns are back at full strength. Nieminen jumps on the ice and the Finns shoot it right back in again. Here come the Canadians, a chance for a break on the left side. The drop pass is there. Canada can't seem to string it together with Correa falling. And he'll go for a change out there.
Crowd responding to the hit that Lindros threw as a puck went around the back of the Finnish goal.
Look at the action with Koivu getting involved, putting it upstairs on Ranford. A difficult one for him to contain, but he eventually grabbed it down with the glove on the second attempt. Whoa, what is happening on the Finnish bench? Vidakoski hits for 2. And what's the name of the call out there? Too many men on the ice.
That's exactly right. That's twice in one period. Matti Kainen is going to be doing his nut on the bench.
Well, he's the one who indicates who should go off and on the ice, but the guys are changing, should be looking to see who's coming off and who's going on. You don't jump on the ice if the guy you're replacing is 25 feet away from you. And it appears that's what they're doing out there. Some sloppy changes. And the Canadians will eat that up all day long. Mike Keenan, one of the most eccentric coaches in National Hockey League history. Certainly is an active guy. He now has his jacket off. And he's bobbing up and down. He says he's a lot more in control than he was a few years ago when he was back in Philadelphia. He's looking after his health and his mental state, but seeing him behind the bench, he certainly is a colorful character, and I'll leave it at that. That comes all the way back to the blue line. 12:52 on the period. Second period, 2-1, the Canadians leading, and right now they have a power play effort out there. Coming back on the attack, Ria Järvi. Nieminen breaks for the goal, and that's pushed away. Ranford getting a stick on it, getting a skate on it. Back on the attack, the Canadians. Gartner fakes the first shot, drops it back. A little breakdown in communications at the blue line. The Canadians running into each other, unable to keep it in the zone. That goes over the far side, and Canada now breaking in with Brindamore. Brindamore gets around Lauken and tipped it along the boards. 47 seconds rather on the too many men in the ice penalty. A chance for number 19, Benning. He got it over to Sanderson. Sanderson drops it back to Galley. Benning is on this side. A chance for the shot. That took a deflection. It goes upstairs. Comes all the way down after about 3 or 4 seconds in the air. And the Finns, with 25 seconds on the penalty, shoot it down the ice. Sanderson for Canada picks up a head of steam. Sanderson leaves it off to Brindamore. Brindamore drops it and then gathers it himself to Dineen. Dineen to Benning, back to Dineen. Dineen had space but couldn't hang on to the puck.
A couple of bad bounces for Canada, and the Finns doing what they have to do. They're just getting their sticks in the way and causing the puck to change direction and not go the way the Canadians would like it to. Vidakovsky returning to the ice. The Finns are going to have to sharpen up on their line changes to begin with, much less their scoring attack and their defensive play. They're only out of it by a goal.
The winner goes on to play the Russians, who beat the Germans yesterday in the quarterfinal. Tonight we've got the Czech Republic against the Italians. The winner of that confrontation will play the Swedes. And the Swedes took on the Americans yesterday in a close-fought game and came out of it 5-2. Korpisalo and Jutila. Hapakoski back. Korpisalo running into trouble with Graves all over him. Graves getting the stick in there, a little hooking, pushing and shoving. It's all part of the game. Smith waits for his teammates to get onside, flips it high. That bounces right on the red line. The Canadians keeping it in the zone. A weak shot comes in from the blue. Going after it is number 12 out there, Greg Johnson. He hasn't seen a lot of action. Less than 5 minutes now on the period. Canada maintaining the pressure. Unable to get the goals, though. Koivu feeds it through. Koivu at the second attempt. Grabs it. Lindros now comes up, but Koivu stays on him and steals the puck from him. Recchi is there to take it right back. Recchi feeds it through. And Lindros didn't see that. Got it off the boards and gave it right to Koivu. Koivu certainly is putting in a good shift. Up on the wing, Tikkanen. Tikkanen dispossessed right on the hash marks, and Canada coming back with number 6, Terry Karkner. Lindros. Recchi. Lindros unable to get the shot away. Back to the blue line. A weak shot is easy for Ketterer.
Good action from both sides. Koivu's line going up against Lindros's line. Tikkanen getting involved defensively, lifting Lindros' stick as a pass came out from Corson. Teams are playing each other tight. The two goal-scoring lines out on the ice for both sides.
Back to the live action, another shot on Ketterer. It's been one-way traffic for the major portion of this period. Ketterer handles that one with ease and forces another face-off out there. Brindamore will get set for the face-off. And there's a happy Finn. Corson receiving a little treatment on the bench. Still 2-1 with the Canadians leading this. Brindamore looking for Dineen. Dineen overskates it. The Finns backhand it out of the zone. And the Canadians go back in numbers. Peltoma chases number 24, Dave Manson. Peltoma comes up with a puck. And we have a high sticking call on the play. I don't know where this guy is getting all these penalties from, but I'm certainly not seeing them out there. He's right down on the ice, so it's a lot easier to call it than it is from up here, but Peltoma certainly isn't impressed with that call.
Well, he doesn't know what to say. I mean, I didn't see much of a high stick on that one. Peltoma taking Dave Manson out around the back of the goal. Sticks at waist height. It's only Manson forcing into the boards. And Peltoma carrying on by him that brings a stick up at all. Call it for yourself. I didn't really consider that a high stick.
Peltoma very unlucky there, but the Russian referee indicated that high sticking was the call. The Canadians go back on the power play. Gartner getting it through, and Korea took the pop shot that bounced wide of the target. Comes over to McIver. McIver flips it in to Lindros, back to McIver. McIver waltzes along the blue line. Big shot coming in the far side. And McIver keeps it in, feeds it through to Lindros. Lindros, a one-timer over to the far side to Korea. That was nice. Manson to Korea, back to Manson. Lindros lets that go into Gartner. This is the power play setup for Canada. Gartner bangs it off the boards. McIver's there to feed it back to Gartner. Gartner walks in, gives it to Lindros. Lindros has Korea out front. Once he picks himself up, a nice little tip back to McIver. One or two Finnish fans wanted an offside call, and it looks like they got it.
The linesman waited about 3 or 4 seconds before he called it. If he saw the puck come out over the blue line, he should have blown the whistle straight away.
Coming up to the final 3 minutes of the period. The Canadians with a goal in each period lead it 2-1. Laukkanen, the only one to put the puck in the net for Finland. Recchi and Manson for Canada. Right now they have a power play with Peltoma in the box for a dubious high stick. Long pass up the middle. That was nice. A chance now for Lindros. He lets it go. Deflected into the corner. Manson comes in. Lindros is there. Manson's up there again. Manson doing a great job on the D, keeping the puck in the zone, but on that occasion, it eluded him. 43 seconds on the penalty remaining. McIver still out there for Canada. McIver has to double back. McIver wasting a lot of time for Canada as the Canadians get settled up front. Sanderson now out on the ice. Sanderson, not a great pass from McIver. Some forechecking there from Koivu. Sarakoski now goes in to take over the forechecking duties. 16 seconds on the penalty. Sanderson trying to do it all on his own. Flips it into the corner. Recchi goes in after it. Brindamore is there going up against Sarakoski. Bending his back of the blue and he can't keep it in. Galley along the boards. Peltoma steps onto the ice. Sarakoski is there. Peltoma picks it up. He's dumped in the corner. A lot of sloppy play with players falling rather, for both teams. And that forces the face-off.
Puck underneath Brindamore. Canadians getting a change. Couldn't get anything going with the power play. Found it a struggle to get it into the Finn territory when they did. Finland doing a good job of just rattling it right back down to Bill Ranford in the Canadian zone.
Shot off the boards as far as the blue line. Corson dragged it over. Shot away by Smith. That deflects into Finnish territory. Less than a minute and a half on the period. The Finns really haven't tested Ranford that much. Ketterer has been sharp, conceding only one goal. Ria Järvi takes it over the blue. There should have been an offside call on the play. Harilla gets it up on the wing, and that's hammered back into Canadian territory. Canada being pressured by Nieminen. Buchberger out there for the first time in this period. Shot out of the zone, and the Russian referee with his arm in the air brings play to a halt yet again. This game really hasn't caught fire as we thought it would. The first period much better than the second.
Teams have slowed it up a little bit. They're playing more of a tighter checking game, especially in the neutral zone, as I said before. The Russian referee issuing his 8th minor penalty of the period. This one goes against Gagne. He's had 1 penalty already in this game. The Finns will have a power play.
Gagne's penalty for slashing will follow on into the third period, unless, of course, the Finns score. And if I remember correctly, I said exactly that same thing at the end of the first period. Gagne was there. His penalty went on into the second period. The Finns didn't score. They waited until things were level before Laukkanen put the puck in the net. Koivu feeds it in. Brindamore steals it. Brindamore will hang on to the puck for as long as he can to kill off this penalty. That comes to the side of the net. Graves took a shot. Boy, what were the Finns doing out there? 28 seconds on the period, and the Finns go into slow motion. Koivu brings it down, picks up the pace just a little. Koivu is the man who can do the job out there. 15 seconds. Koivu still prancing around on the hash marks. No shots on goal. That seems to be the story. Korpisalo moving out there. Tikkanen wants to get something going from a sharp angle. Tikkanen was there. Hämäläinen has to come out to chase, and there goes the buzzer to end the second period. The Canadians will start the third with a man in the box. That's Dave Gagne. But they don't really mind. Right now they're comfortable with this scoreline, 2-1 over the Finns.
Corner final action certainly gets tighter. Nobody being blown out of the rink. The Russians took a long time to really get past the Germans. The Swedes struggled with the Americans for 2 periods. And we've got a great battle here.
Just a reminder that tonight the Czech Republic take on the Italians. The winner of that will play the Swedes. The winner of this game go against the might of the Russians. And the Russians, who finished third in their group, in Group A, that was played in, their games were played in Munich. They are looking stronger all the time. That's not going to be a pushover, so whoever goes up against the Russians, whether it's the Canadians or the Finns, they're going to have their hands full. The winner of the game tonight, the Czech Republic against the Italians, play the Swedes, and they too are growing in strength. The Swedes are looking good. Right now it's Canada against Finland, 2-1. The Canadians are leading. We're going to take a break, so stay with us. We have more action coming up in just a moment. Laukkanen, the big defenseman, has picked up the only goal for Finland. So that's the way it stands as the teams now make their way onto the ice. 2-1 for Canada.
Anybody's game with 20 minutes to play. Statistically, a lot of things are close coming into the final period of the game. The Canadians have had 18 shots at the Finnish goal. The Finns have had 16 at Bill Ranford in the Canadian net. Penalties, the Finns have had 6 minor infractions, 2 of them being very costly. Too many men on the player, too many men on the ice calls. It can certainly kill you. They got away with it. The Canadians have had 4 minor penalties.
And right now they're going to have Gagne in the box for a few seconds. Just for the start of this third period, the Finns and the Canadians have a long way to go to get to the ice surface here. I think their dressing rooms are in Dortmund. The rink is in Munich. They're out on the ice now. The officials, 2 from Sweden, 1 from Russia. Valery Bokarev has made 1 or 2 calls that we didn't agree with, but what else is new out there? We have a tendency not to agree with a lot of the calls. Having said that, I think the officiating has been strong, and I said that earlier in the game before Bokarev came up with a couple of his, well, I don't know what they were, but one call, high sticking against Peltema, certainly wasn't a good call for my money, but my comment earlier on was this: yes, they were doing a great job and they couldn't be faulted on that many occasions, but it's easy for us to sit here and watch this game and just pick holes in what they're doing. We can do that to the players, the goaltenders, and the officials.
That's it, Paul. Don't overcommit yourself or be too critical. You have a stab at somebody, then you got to end it by complimenting them. I like the way you can diplomatically get out of most situations. Always be the nice guy.
I'm going for the Hart Trophy for commentators. I'm going to correct that and say I'm going for the Lady Byng. I'll go for either one. Face-off with Bokarev calling the teams together. 2-1 the score. The Canadians playing from left to right. And it's all down to the final 20 minutes of play. Nieminen gets set for the face-off against Graves. 5-on-4. The Finns will have the man advantage for a few seconds out there with Gagne sitting it out. Hapakoski breaks on the right side as that comes all the way up the middle. Long pass to Ria Järvi. Ria Järvi being dragged down, and the Canadians force a face-off when they plow into their own goal. 48 seconds on the penalty.
Galley just about putting Ranford out of the game. The net coming off the Finns, quickly on the move. Ria Järvi trying to get something going. They could pop that equalizing goal quickly. You never know what's going to happen.
From the face-off now, Varvio went in to get it. That came back to Hämäläinen. Knocked down by Smith in the circle. Loose puck in the corner, bobbles behind the net, and the Canadians get it out of the zone. And, pardon me, they got it as far as the blue line. Didn't go out of the zone. Now it's out of there, and the Canadians will go for a quick change. How that was kept in, I don't know. Hapakoski dropped it forward. Ria Järvi drops it back. Hapakoski back there with Nieminen. And now the Finns with 15 seconds on the power play bring it forward. Nieminen to Ria Järvi. Ria Järvi over to the far side. The shot with 9 seconds coming from Varvio's stick is deflected into the near side. Galley goes after his man, takes a swipe, puts a little glove in the face of his opposite number. Varvio wasting a lot of time. Gagne gets on the ice. Nieminen taken out of the play. Brindamore puts it up to Gagne. Gagne happy just to backhand it out of the zone. And the Finns shoot it right back in with Jutila taking a pop on the chin as he got rid of that puck. Brindamore, the return pass. The Canadians unable to contain that. Koivu reaches for it but couldn't hang on to it. Hämäläinen has to go deep. He's got Harilla on this side, goes to Tikkanen. Tikkanen fakes the shot. The rebound is right there. Ranford allowing that to come out. Another shot comes in. Oh, Ranford went down. That was gunning for the near post. Lindros loses that in neutral ice territory. Tikkanen gets back and throws it onto the D. A long pass ends up on Ranford's stick. McIver for Canada to the far side. The return pass, 1 or 2 passes from the Canadians. Not as sharp as they would like. Manson threw it out of the zone. 2:09 gone. Icing the call.
The Canadians having to kill off a penalty at the start of the period look a bit flat. They aren't going to be able to sit back and think that this one is wrapped up. The Finns are applying a lot of pressure.
According to our sources, one of the problems the Canadians were having before coming into this game was getting motivated. They thought that this was going to be an easy one. Keenan was telling the players that it wasn't going to be an easy victory over the Finns, and right now it's just 2-1. The high-flying Canadians, who walked over everyone in the preliminary rounds, are not walking away with this one. I have a feeling now the Canadians know they're in a game and they're not relaxing, but mentally perhaps they weren't quite prepared for this. Gardner broke up through the center as that one was chopped off a Johnson's stick, and it comes all the way back onto the D. Norm McIver, a long pass through neutralized territory, big shot, missing the net. Ketterer went down, didn't have to make the save. Johnson feeds it right back to the blue. Manson tees it up. Oh! That rattled off the woodwork. And now the Finns bring it out, throw it up on the left side. Sarakoski gets as far as the blue line. Offside is the call. And the Canadians with Manson way back of the blue, letting their shots go. Boy, this guy can let them fly.
Manson and Gardner both with opportunities on the shift. Manson's shot is through a crowd just off the post and ricocheting into the corner. Ketterer thanking his lucky stars for that.
Sarakoski getting a rough ride along the boards. Excellent camera work from one of the 14 cameras situated around the Olympic Hall here in Munich. Hapakoski goes deep. Ketterer shoots it away from Hapakoski, feeds that up to the hash marks. The Canadians pick it up. Dineen goes right in front as that goes through the crease. Canada trying to keep it in. They do as far as the hash marks, and the Finns now break up. 1, 2, 3 Finns breaking forward. Varvio got as far as the circle and was taken off the puck. Canada now breaking. Sanderson slows it down, waits for a little support, tries to feed it through the skates. Nieminen in the corner. Nieminen fans on the first clearance. Hamalainen got back to put it up to Jutila. Jutila, his pass is not taken well, and Canada now with a change on the fly. Recchi on the move. Sanderson. Recchi fanned on the shot. There's a bit of water out there, and both teams are having problems getting the clear shots away. From behind the net, that bounces kindly for Galley. Galley unable to get the wood on the stick. Koivu, not a great clearance from him. That comes out front. Recchi was right there. Buchberger took the shot. And both teams letting the puck go. Recchi takes the shot. He scores! Well, both teams not playing sharp, consistent hockey out there. Recchi takes advantage of the situation and gets his second goal of the game to make it 3-1.
Mark Recchi showing why he's always a leading goal scorer on any team he's involved with, and one of the top goal scorers in the NHL. On his off wing, already popping one goal during this game, just about the same way. Gets this one away in a hurry. Ketterer beaten. 53 goals and 70 assists for Philadelphia for Mark Recchi this season. The #1 scorer for the Flyers has his second goal of this game.
3-1, the Canadians extend their lead as Tikkanen goes after his man. That's fed up. Correa gets it up to Lindros. Lindros tees it up, and that went off of Harilla's stick. The Canadians still with the puck. Correa finding Lindros out front. Shane Corson, this line is working well. Corson to Lindros. Lindros goes for the short side, gets it back to Correa. Back to Lindros. Oh, the big triangle being set up around that goal with Correa, Corson, and Lindros. Lindros looks like he's hardly moving out there, but this guy is so deceptive. Coming back on the attack, Tikkanen somehow got it over to number 14, Corpusalo. He took the shot, went off the plexi. Shane Corson way back on defense. Lindros on this side, gets the feed over. Lindros decided not to go forward, went behind the goal. Manson takes the shot. Correa is there, all the way back. Manson will have another attempt, gets it in the corner. Where is Lindros? Coming in quickly is Johnson. He fanned on the shot. McIver is there, got it through the the goalie's crease, kept in nicely by Kartner, and the Canadians buzz all around that net. Both teams get a change out there. Koivu runs into trouble in the corner, and eventually that squirts out of the zone, and both teams will be able to complete their changes.
The line staying paired up. Koivu's line going out against Lindros's line.
Graves takes a shot. Gartner was right on the point. Another one coming in from Kartner. Boy, they're coming from all angles. At a rate or not, it's a tip out front. And Ketter somehow grabbed that. There's going to be a penalty on the play.
Hooking is going to be the call on Laukkanen. Good work by Gartner and Johnson. Shot going towards the goal. 22-12. Johnson's in front of the net. He's pulled down by number 12 from Finland, and Laukkanen will sit for 2 minutes.
The number 1 draft pick for Philadelphia, Greg Johnson. That was back in '89. Still only 22 years old, getting involved in the action. The young college kids, Meyer, Johnson, Savage, haven't seen a lot of action for Canada, but when they've been out there, they've looked impressive. Back to McIver. McIver walks in past Sanderson, gives it up to Brindamore. Brindamore taps that through, and the Canadians growing in strength as this one goes on. Sanderson takes up his position here. Brindamore went right out front and took a shot at Ketter. Sanderson gets it back. McIver wants it. The one-timer, the Canadians are doing that well. The feed from the far point, the one-time shot from back of the blue has been working for them. McIver gets it away from Ria Yarvi. Manson on the far post, or far point rather, gets it back to McIver. Brindamore in the corner. Hapakoski goes up against Brindamore. Brindamore is tough to upend. Galley steps on the ice and feeds it over to Brindamore. Brindamore to Deneen, back to Brindamore. He's got Sanderson. Sanderson's got an open point to shoot at. Oh, Ketter didn't see that. Deneen against Hapakoski. A lot of pressure from the Canadians. Sanderson couldn't just get a good shot away. McIver keeps it in nicely. Utila eventually rattles that off the boards down the ice. 51 seconds on the power play.
Good pressure from Canada, setting it up well, keeping the puck right in Ketter's zone. The Finns desperate to clear.
Out front, the one-timer. Power play goal from Gagne as he walked right in. The change was just made before the puck came over. And the big sweep by Dave Gagne makes it 4 for Canada.
A good job of changing on the fly. The Canadians shuffling players on and off the ice on the power play. The Finns looking a bit tired. Gagne coming into the picture very quickly and one-timing it for a goal. A nice pass to him by Mark Recchi. Recchi sliding it over. Gagne's shot is right on the ice and between the legs of Marcus Ketterer.
That's the second time we've seen that back pass from that side of the rink. This time it worked. Last time Korea tried to set up Lindros. Lindros ran out of places to go. Do you think this is something they practiced?
Very well could be.
That's the kind of pass you tell young kids not to make out there. These guys are breaking all the rules. And coming up with the goals. Canada leading 4-1 in the third and final period. The Finns definitely under pressure. Need something magical. Can Koivu do it? Koivu taken off the plate. Tikkanen spins around, lets the shot go. That's deflected high. Koivu picks it up. Koivu against Kartner. Leaves out along the boards for Pasalo. Harilla right in front. Loose puck. Kartner gets it and gets it out of the zone. Harilla going back for it. A chance for 16, Buchberger. Buchberger takes a shot. That bounces off the metalwork. Hamalainen is there. And the Canadians still apply the pressure. Look at the Finns back in that corner. 1, 2, 3. Recchi's waiting for that to come out. That seems to be trapped under a skate. The Russian referee says play on, and then forces the face-off outside the zone.
Buchberger trying to get the whistle, finally manages to do it, but the puck will come outside of the Finnish end of the ice. If the player is deliberately knocked on the puck, The referee's discretion can be to leave the face-off in deep, but if he's just trying to delay time and not doing much about keeping the puck going, they'll pull the face-off outside.
Pensi Matikainen needs a Teemu Selanne out there. They don't have a goal scorer. I know we've said it before, we're going to say it again. They need a leader, someone to take charge. Every team has one. The Canadians have Lindros. Shot from close in. Lindros was right there. Lindros spun around in front of the net. That leaves him wide open. Galley comes in. Korea was there. Galley was wide open. Shane Corson took a shot. That ended up in the near side, and the Finns under a lot of pressure. Paolo unable to squeeze it along the boards. Eventually it squirts out of the zone with Laukkanen, Sarakoski, and Paolo on this side. Lindros fed it through to Korea on the far side. Korea doing a lot of chopping on number 15, Alatalo. Alatalo looking for the return pass, and the puck ends up on this side. A little tip there by Corson forward to Lindros, but he was well and truly offside on the plate.
Corson, Korea, and Lindros is such a fun line to watch. They know what to do at all times. You'd think they've been together all season. They move the puck around nicely. They've got a good understanding of each other.
Eric Lindros, still only 20 years old. It's frightening to see him come down the ice. The guy is like a steamroller, out of control, 6'5", 225 pounds, and he doesn't seem to look like he's moving out there. That's the deceptive part, the part that hurts the most. He cruises by you and you don't think he's moving. Ria Järvi drops it back. Barbio moves in. The shot comes in. The rebound. Ria Järvi takes a poke at it. Nieminen is there. Barbio on this side, unable to get a stick on it. The Canadians with Gartner on the wing can't get it out. Manson feeds it to the far side. Barbio punches it back in. Manson will go back with McIver standing guard out front. Manson puts it onto the right wing. The Canadians breaking with Gartner. Gartner tees it up. Ketter, a routine save for him with the stick out. Puts it into the corner. McIver away from Harilla. Harilla goes back to get it away from Gartner and punches along the boards to Ria Järvi. Ria Järvi threw into neutral ice territory. Here come the Finns. Barbio takes the shot, and Ranford way out of his net, came out with a save. McIver threw it on, looks for the change. Manson bounces it off the boards into neutral ice territory. Here comes Deneen. Deneen having trouble with the puck, and the Canadians continue to skate, and the Finns continue to play defensive hockey.
They're trying, but it's not working. They're down by 3. And the Canadians, to their credit, have such strong offense, but on the back check, they're hooking and holding people up. What offense that the Finns are trying to get together just isn't happening. 1-on-3s, 2-on-4s, the odds just aren't in your favor trying to take a team on that way.
We saw a similar thing happen to the Germans against the Russians. Dier Hagen would go down. You'd see 4 red shirts from the Russians back there waiting for him. Then Gerhard Trunchka would take a run at them. You got to do it in numbers. Koivu hits the blue. He's got a little support on the far side. Koivu working there with Korpisalo. Coming up is Hämäläinen. Hämäläinen skates away from the puck, but not before he puts it in to the corner. The bouncing puck. Kevin Deneen got it back to Hämäläinen. Sanderson goes after his man. The shot comes in. Ranford gloved that down. Ranford hasn't seen a lot of rubber, but he's been sharp when he's had to be.
He hasn't had much to do in this period, going for a little skate, trying to keep himself loose, trying to keep himself into it. Slight screen in front of the goal. Korpisalo hoping for a rebound or a deflection. Tikkanen getting the shot away. Ranford gloves it. Korpisalo can see it there, but there's no way he's going to get a touch.
From the face-off, and you can just see how physical those face-offs are if you were watching that. Finnish player's helmet came off. Everyone took a body. No one being allowed to walk in. Siren got it to Laukkanen, got it to Sarakoski, who lost his helmet. Sarakoski continues to play out there as that goes on to Alatalo. Sarakoski along the boards. The Canadians come up with it back into the fray of things, the thick of things, with Gagne moving up there. Paolo gets back deep. Paolo hits the red line, hits the blue, drops it back. 1, 2, 3, Finns bunching. The shot coming in from Sarakoski. Ranford somehow trapped that shot between the pads. A lot of bunching from the Finns.
Sarakoski being roughed up earlier on the shift. Elects to take the quick wrist shot. Ranford knows it's between his legs somewhere, but isn't going to let it get behind him. So just squeezes the pads together and takes the face-off.
Back to the top of the circle. Manson misses that. Correa takes the swipe. Manson along the boards. The Canadians with Lindros, 13-12, 08 rather. Gone in the period. The Canadians leading this one 4-1. They don't look to be under any real pressure out there. Nieminen goes back. Nieminen calling for it at the far side. That seems to elude everyone. McIver gets it away from Ria Yarvi. And the Canadians throw it around nicely, bring it out of their zone. Hit the blue line now. Manson slows it down. Manson pops it in the center. Canada in the zone looking to put it out front to Lindros. He had no cover on him at all. The Canadians, Correa, Corson, Shane Corson, Lindros out front. How many times have we said that? Corson put it in front. That's tipped away, and the Finns are not looking confident right now. Correa whips that around, and Ketterer was there. Lindros set him up.
Good pass work again from that line. Correa so quick to get himself into an opening.
Back on the attack, Koivu looking around, circles once, gets it in the corner to 14, Korpisalo. Korpisalo pushes that over to the far wing. Back to Tikkanen. Where was Tikkanen? Where were the Finns? They brought themselves out over the zone. Canada now under no pressure at all, with Galley feeding it forward. Gartner on the wing. Gartner takes the shot. Ketterer comes up with the pad save.
Mike Gartner on the right wing, getting it away quickly. Ketterer's finally had a break the past few minutes. The action's been going at Ranford for a change. Has to extend the leg and get a pad on the puck, and then holds on for a whistle. Good concentration by Mike Gartner.
From the face-off, the Canadians winning it again, but sending it too far. Goes all the way down the ice. Ranford got out there in a hurry, fed it to the far side, and Canada flip it out over the blue, red. Parilla back in his own zone, brings it up on the left side. Brindamore got the stick to him. Parilla shoots it in, and Smith goes back. Smith. And the Canadians with the high flip, happy just to kill off time out there. Koivu to the far side. Koivu seeing a lot of ice in this game. This could be the last game that the Finns see in this tournament. That clearance hit the official. The Canadians got the bounce, pick it up. Dineen right in front, a bouncing puck. The kind of a thing you'd expect to see as this game winds down. It's hot. The ice is a little chewed up out there. Korpisalo looking for Koivu. Koivu on the wing. Happy just to flip it in. And the Finns really looking like they've run out of steam. Gagne out front. Big chop at that. Gagne setting that one up nicely. Ketterer went down. Canada throwing the passes together. Siren now with an opportunity. Siren shoots that into the corner, but unable to keep it in the zone when it came bouncing out. Laukkanen. A return pass, less than 5 minutes on the clock. Siren from Laukkanen. Long shot. Ranford got a stick to it. Alatalo trying to keep that away from Karkner. Recky's waiting out front. Alatalo right in front with Paolo taking the shot. Ranford smothers it for the face-off.
Good forechecking by the Finns. Alatalo doing a good job. Puck coming across to Paolo. He doesn't waste any time getting the shot away. The Canadians roaming around, getting to him eventually. Paolo getting it off right at Bill Ranford. He just wants to hold on as Alatalo is fighting to get a stick on the rebound.
Lindros goes up against Paolo. Paolo wins it. Lindros brings him down. The Finns hang on to the puck. Alatalo is out there. The Canadians touch the puck, and we have a whistle on the play.
Referee Bukarev hasn't had much action in this period. One penalty against Laukkanen early on. Now the Canadians go to the penalty box. Eric Lindros will take a seat, and the Finns have the man advantage.
Tripping is the call. Let's take a look at this. Paolo being brought down by big number 88. Do the Finns have enough time, and do they have the personnel to bring this one a little closer? I somehow doubt it, but they're only trailing by 3. 4-1 is the score. Recchi, Manson, Recchi, and Gagne for Canada. Laukkanen, the only one to score for Finland. A timeout has been called with Lindros in the box. The Finns need to throw something together in a hurry.
The timeout, not just for strategy. Coach Matti Kainen wanting to give his players a little bit of an extra rest. The line with Koivu, Korpisalo, and Tikkanen getting a lot of ice time. Every other shift they're going back out now, giving them a little extra breather and getting prepared for this power play.
Mike Keenan, the coach, teaming up with Roger Nielsen, who was fired earlier on from the Rangers once Messier got hold of the scene there. Tikkanen went over to the Rangers. Things are getting a bit incestuous over there. Power play situation with Nieminen getting it back onto the blue. Thrown over to the far side, and the Finns now set it up. They need something really magical out there. They've thrown on yet another attacker, taking their goaltender off. They know they can only lose by so many goals. The Canadians with Nieminen, or the Finns rather, with Nieminen poking at it. The Canadians with Ranford down there, Graves down there, Smith is there to hang on to that puck. Well, what a brave move by Pentti Matikainen to take the goalie out. He's got Lindros in the box, so he's got an extra man. And with the goalie off, yet another guy out there.
Why not? He needs goals, and he needs them in a hurry. 6 attackers. Nieminen's pass comes to the front of the net. Riajärvi steps in. He gets one crack at it. The puck is in no man's land. Ranford is down and out. Nieminen can't get his stick free to touch the puck, and the Canadians survive.
Big face-off for the Finns. They got to win this. We're coming up to the 16-minute mark of the period, so the Finns are running out of time. Shane Corson is told to leave the circle. Nieminen doesn't win it against Graves. That goes all the way back to the blue line. Less than 4 minutes remaining on the period. Big hit right on the boards in front of the Canadian bench.
Shane Corson following through, taking his man after the Finnish defenseman had pushed the puck back into Canada's zone, right at the blue line. Utila getting belted by Corson. Hello.
Goodbye. Whoa, Utila feeling the force of Corson. Face off just inside the blue. The Canadians want to get this one right. Despite the 3-goal cushion, they're not taking any chances out there. That comes over onto the wing. Riajärvi takes it deep. The net is wide open. An extra attacker out there for the Finns. They're going for broke. Nieminen loses it, and Riajärvi gets back in a hurry.
Knockout hockey. They know there isn't any tomorrow. It doesn't matter if they lose 9-1 or 4-1. They've got to press the attack and try and get something going.
The Finns keeping it in, but still unable to get the quality shots on goal from the side of the net. That trickles all the way down the ice. Will it go between the pipes? Yes, it does. What do you make of that decision? Big smile from Lindros. He's still in the box, and he knows the Canadians have won this one. 5-1 now the score.
Puck coming to the front of the goal. The long clearance going down the ice from Dave Manson. Well, this guy normally lets slap shots go at the net. It's probably the weakest backhander he'll ever score a goal on. Short-handed goal for Manson. He had a power play goal earlier in the game. What more can you say?
5-1 the score. The Canadians will go on into the next round. 3 minutes on the clock. And the Finns just do not have it this year. They lack the scoring punch to put them into the semifinals, and the Canadians will go on to take on the Russians. That should be a good game. You're going to see that one on Eurosport. Right up into the final, we're going to be with this championship. So stay with us. Every game will be seen live on this channel.
The Finns started out strong in the games and then have slowly let things get away from them. They ended up losing their last two prior to coming into the quarterfinals. The roles reversing for these sides. In the Olympic Games played in February, the Canadians with the silver medal, the Finns were 7th. And then a month later, the World Games went to the then Czechoslovakia, and the Canadians ended up in 8th place, and the Finns had the silver medal.
The Canadians back at full strength. Galley in the corner runs a little interference, throws his weight around. Going up against his man is Gagne. Gagne takes a swipe. Alatalo comes up with the puck. Alatalo bounces it nicely off the board. Sarakoski is there. Sarakoski takes the shot. Ranford the save. The loose puck is cleared away by Gagne. Gagne takes a swipe off the boards, and that gets it out over the red line. The Finns quickly shoot it right back in. Less than 2 minutes on the period. Less than 2 minutes on the game. 5-1 the score. Canada leading this one. Laukkanen, the only person to score for Finland, goes back deep, pumps it up forward, and here come the Finns, thrown up on the right side. Can they make it a little more respectable? Gartner says no, and he takes it out of the zone. The Canadians coming back deep with number 14, Brian Savage, out there for the first time. One of the 4 college kids for Canada. And it's nice to see that Keenan is doing his bit to let the juniors have a go. Tikkanen takes the shot. A loose puck on the far side goes up in the Canadians now. Gartner breaks towards the net. The pass right through. Hit a deflection. McIver, a tip. And again, it goes off the post. Gartner feeds it in behind the goal. Kidder watching pucks fly by him from all angles. Tikkanen lets that ride off his skates, and the Finnish hockey season is over for this year. Long shot coming from Hapakoski. Goes over the top of the net. Bounces all the way out. Less than 45 seconds on the clock. McIver throws it out. A little tip forward by Johnson. Ria Yarby trying to bring it through. Ria Yarby goes for the short side on the backhand. Ranford was with him all the way. Varvio wants it. It doesn't come his way. Nieminen went in. He was taken off the play. A rink-wide pass up to Dineen. Dineen happy just to shoot it in. Ketterer will have to touch it. Grindamore is there with 18 seconds on the clock. Nieminen headmans the puck up to the blue line, and it's all over but the shouting. The Canadians have won the game 5-1, and they move into the next round. Recchi, Manson, Recchi, Gagne, and Manson for Canada, spreading the goals out over 3 periods. Laukkanen picking up the only goal for Finland in the second period.
A good solid performance from the Canadians, and they keep going. 6 wins from 6 games. The Finns have ended their chances for a medal in the 93 games.
The Canadians have now scored 36 goals and conceded only 5. This is an awesome scoring threat out there. They're amending one or two of the goals out there. You can hear them talking to the officials along the boards, but it's all academic. The score ends up 5-1. The Finns, at the end of it, just didn't have the scoring punch. They didn't have the guys to go forward. They really have a lot of talent for years to come, but on this occasion in Munich, it just wasn't to be. Tonight on Eurosport, the Czechs and the Italians go up against each other, and I'm going to put you on the spot once again. Let's have a man of the match for both teams before they call it down on the ice.
Well, that's normally your trick. You wait till after they call it and say, oh, that's the guy I picked. For the Canadians, I would go with Dave Manson. A good performance by the defenseman, getting involved offensively and doing a solid job in the back. For the Finns, I'll go with the hard work of number 15, Mika Alatalo. I think he played a good game. He was up and down the ice and did a lot of work in the corners.
You're going for Manson, I'll go for Recchi. Recchi also got a couple of goals out there. And for the Finns, I'd say Koivu again. I chose him last time. I like the way he plays hockey. He was working hard. Let's see what happens. Whoa, they must be listening to me down on the ice. Koivu gets man of the match. When we say youngster, we mean youngster. Koivu, only 18. A great future for Koivu. This guy has got a lot of style. Recchi gets man of the match, 2 for 2. Not bad, huh, Bopes?
Well, your experience shining on that one, Ferg. I'd love to be able to cut you down on it, but I can't. Good job.
The Canadians march on to the next round and take on the Russians. That is not going to be an easy game. The Russians are growing in strength. They've got some good goal scorers up front, and Bykov, Petrenko, Komatov, a lot of young talent at the back. Goaltending perhaps a weak point in their game.
Goaltending is actually the most vulnerable part of the Russian team. As a group, they're maturing nicely. They've got youngsters that have come into the team. They've got the experience of Bykov and Komatov to assist them. They're going to be a solid performer, and it's going to be a tough game for Canada.
The Canadians have two excellent goaltenders in Tugnut and Ranford. Both play for the Edmonton Oilers. They've got smaller defense than usual. They've gone for mobility rather than size. And up front, a basket full of good goal scorers. Shane Corson, Sanderson, Deneen, Gagne, Brindamore, Correa, who's proved himself during his finals, and Graves and Lindros. Recchi, of course, is one who has already proved himself in this game with 2 goals. So the Canadians look well balanced, and I hate to be tempting fate here, but they look even better balanced than they have in the past. They look like the complete team for the first time.
It has been a while, but Canada do look like they've got the right ingredients. As the team finishes their final game, there are 3 players selected as players of the tournament from each side. Marcus Ketterer, the goaltender who played so well. Jutila, number 5, the defenseman, picked up the award. And number 13, again, Koivu, collecting his second piece of paraphernalia for his bookcase on this occasion. And it's a good job by those 3 and the Finnish team.
Canadians will celebrate this evening, and the Finns will go home. The Canadians live to fight another day. Remember that this evening on Eurosport, the Czechs against the Italians. Until then, from Richard Beaupre and myself, Paul Ferguson, bye for now.